Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Tengku Muhammad Taufik bin Tengku Kahar. I'm a fourth year student of Faculty of Islamic Study. And today, my speech title is a supermarket should be legally required to donate all edible unsold food instead of throwing it away. Ladies and gentlemen, look around you right now. If we were standing in supermarkets, roughly one third of all food you see would never be eaten. That isn't a failure of farming, it is a failure of logistic, policy, and habits. Every year, we throw away enough food to fill a 90-story stadium, while globally, that waste generates more greenhouse gases than the entire airline industry. That is not just a mess, it's a moral and environmental catastrophe. This crisis is personal. Food waste directly drains your wallet by forcing you to throw away thousands of ringgits worth of grocery every year, and it actively fuels climate change through the methane gas it produces in our landfills. This is a problem we are all paying for. My passion for this topic isn't just academic, it comes from having worked in the food service industry and seeing firsthand the volume of perfectly good food that ends up in the dumpster every night. I have spent my time researching the environmental reports and policy solutions that show us exactly where our system is broken and how we can fix it. The time has come from us to recognize food waste as a critical driver of climate change. Therefore, we must implement mandatory national food that standardization and commercial food donation mandates to hold both producers and retailers accountable. Today, I will first explain the devastating environmental impact of wasted food in our landfills. Second, I will break down the causes of confusion and overstocking in the retail sectors. Finally, I will present a clear, actionable plan for policy changes that can drastically reduce our nation's food waste footprint. First, I will explain why we should stop wasting food. The problem with food waste is that it isn't just wasted food, it's an immense, unnecessary contributor to climate change and resource depletion. The UN Environment Programme (UNEP) in 2024 states that 8% to 10% of global greenhouse gas emission came from food loss and waste. To put that in perspective, if food waste were a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases, trailing only the US and China, according to FAO in 2013. Now that we understand the catastrophic environmental state, the question becomes, how do we stop this cycle? The most effective path forward is through policy change and mandatory commercial accountability. The most effective way to address food waste is through targeted policy changes that affect the two biggest bottlenecks: retail confusion and commercial disposal. We must implement mandatory food donation law for major commercial businesses like those successfully adopted in France, which prohibited the disposal of edible unsold food. A national standard using only two labels: used by for safety perishables and best quality for taste chef stable item, according to FDA in 2019. By implementing these two solutions, standardized labeling and mandatory donation, we achieve immediate and widespread result, securing a powerful triple win for our planet, our economy, and our society. These policies create a powerful ripple effect that improves environmental health, strengthens the economy, and provides social justice. The World Wildlife Fund (WWF) in 2021 states about 6% to 8% of all human-caused greenhouse gas emission could be reduced if we stop wasting food. It's most accessible, low-cost way for every community to become part of the climate solution. The strongest benefit is social. The FAO in 2015 estimates that saving just one quarter of the food currently lost or wasted would be enough to feed 870 million hungry people around the world. Our solution is wasted, simultaneously a solution to global hunger. In closing, we have seen that the problem of food waste is not a simple issue of poor planning. It's a critical environmental, ethical. We began by establishing the devastating problem that food rotting in landfill is a major driver of climate change through the emission of potent methane gas, wasting massive amount of resources like water and land in the process. We then laid out two clear solutions. First, standardizing misleading food dates labels to empower households, and second, implementing mandatory food donation laws for major commercial retailers to move food from the dumpster to the dinner plate. The crisis of food waste is solvable, and the benefits are too great to ignore. This is where you come in. I ask you today to move beyond simply recycling your milk carton and to actively participate in the systemic change. Demand to change the policy, act locally, and commit personally. The amount of food we waste every single day is an insult to the planet, a burden on our economy, and a moral failing in a world with hunger. But by demanding accountability from industry and embarrassing mindfulness in our homes, we can close the loop of this crisis. Let's stop throwing foods away the future and start feeding it. That's all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.